we can get this game underway. Semi-final 1 was one hell of a show, so well played to both X-Crash and CC Jesters. It was a very hard-fought series. X-Crash did come out on top, but certainly either side could have won that one. Now, I'm really hoping for a close competition here. In the second semi-final, we have #1, which is Kingdanzz and Widderson this time, versus the Green Dwarf, which is GreenSpirit and Tyrion. So, do you have any favourites in this matchup, Crazy?
Man, I gotta give it to Kingdanzz and Widderson. I mean, really
they
sorry.
Are both absolute giants of the tournament scene, right?
Yeah.
Like, GreenSpirit and Tyrion are amazing players. Like, I play duo with GreenSpirit all the time. He's a great guy, really funny, and a very good player as well. Tyrion, also an amazing player. You can see they're both legends from last season, and I think they can certainly put up a fight. But Kingdanzz and Widderson, they just have that extreme tournament pedigree, right? Like, Kingdanzz has won pretty much everything, and Widderson has won pretty much everything else. So,
yeah. it's insane. Like, I mean, I want to point out first that GreenSpirit and Tyrion, we saw them yesterday, and they performed like well above what I expected. I mean, I know them, and I know they're capable players, but they really they brought their A game yesterday. Like, no matter what, they played extremely well, even better than I expected. But Kingdanzz and Widderson, they've got the experience in the tournament setting, and they've won basically everything as individuals, and now teaming up, that might be a giant that is really hard to overcome.
Yeah, sure. Now, Kingdanzz, I'm going to call him a liar as we swap over into the game now, because game number 1 of the second semi-final is underway, and we see all 4 players picking Greed. Danz, come on, man, you promised us that you would pick the option.
Yeah, I mean, that really has to be a cash-out game. I have no confirmation yet, but this got to be a cash-out game, because
it could be redraw as well.
I mean, actually, I can see redraw happening in a tournament setting, though. I mean, we have previously as well, so... Yeah, anyways, let's start off by looking at the Legion spells. We have...
It was redraw, so Widderson tells me it was redraw, so I can understand why they all pick Greed, because even though redraw might be pretty strong with the 4th redraw added in this latest patch, I just think that Greed is more fun for starters, and the 5 income is just pretty solid.
Yeah, especially if you're experienced enough to pilot basically any role, you might as well take it.
Yeah.
That being said, by looking at the Legion spells, we can see that the Legion spells, all of them, are very economy focused. We can see Sacrifice, which allows you to sacrifice a potentially useless unit or early game unit and get the money back and get additional gold. We can see Investment to push your income, and we can see Predator to really bleed out every inch of the way and just push your lead.
Yeah. All right, let's get this game underway. We see king upgrades coming from all 4 players. So Kingdanzz not being punished with his Graal opener here, like we saw Joke on You in game 1 of the first semi-finals. He will be able to get away with his 5-worker Sovereign plan that he had from the start, so that's lovely for him. Absolutely splendid. And we see GreenSpirit with his 5-worker Crusher opener. Pretty strong as well, to be fair.
Yeah, I think we can see like pretty much 2 very good openers on each side and some not so common ones. I mean, the Elite Archer for certain is not the most common opener, I would say.
It's not. I actually know that GreenSpirit likes playing the Elite Archer opener quite a lot and has a pretty strong win rate with it. So because of the fact that he plays it a lot himself, presumably he knows how to play against it. So let's see if he's able to punish Widderson, who is the player on the Elite Archer this game. Kingdanzz does get snailed here, so this will be a leak, and because of the snail buck, it actually leaks 1 more creep than it used to, so it's a 42% leak now coming out from this. But GreenSpirit gets a snail as well, and he's playing Aqua with his Bone Crusher, so this is just pure food for him. He absolutely loves to see that, pushing up to 6 workers now on wave number 2.
Yeah, actually, I mean, no, wait, Kingdanzz just leaked 4 creeps. Usually you leak 5, I assume, right?
It's supposed to be 5. Maybe it's because it's right at the very start, like front of the wave. Maybe, I don't know, it gives him like 1 extra attack on the snail before the rest of the wave reaches.
Yeah, it seems like it. That seems like someone really like if you can replicate that, and that's really something I personally have not seen yet, and that's like a position that is really good, really strong, and going forward. But yeah.
Widderson, no slouch, by the way. He's on 6 workers as well. He will get the triple snail here. He's got the infiltrator, though, which is pretty solid on this wave, and actually gives him insane potential to be able to just full shift on wave 4, have that orchid there to cover wave 5 and wave 6, where the archer is normally weak, and then even shift wave 6 because the orchid is so strong there that he can just go for that upgrade on the archer for wave 7.
I have to point something out for you, and that is Kingdanzz lacking 1 gold for the Avenger. He had 269 gold.
Oh, so the leak on wave 2 actually like really dangerous for him then.
Yeah, and I mean you can see him now opting for a cannon build, a Gatling gun build instead of what we expected to be a Holy Avenger build.
And we do have 2 very minor leaks coming out then from both Widderson and Tyrion. Though Widderson now with 7 workers, Tyrion staying on 6.
Yeah, I mean, for now it's all fair. Everyone's almost equal, at least team-wise. They're both very, very equal. But looking at the builds and looking at the fact that Kingdanzz's plan has been denied.
Does Kingdanzz know how to play the Gatling gun?
He does. He just panicked, I think.
So someone told King how to play the Gatling gun because you don't want your melee units to be this close. Maybe with it being like directly in front of the cave, things will work differently. Oh wow, things do work differently because it's directly in front of the cave. So because the units spawn so close, he actually is still able to get 6 to 8 stacks on the Gatling gun before the Nekomata walks too far in front.
That being said, we can actually take a look at Widderson's lane, and that's a huge leak.
Oh, he doesn't even kill the turtle there. That's 79% on him. Now, sure, Tyrion leaks, but that was a post-income brute from Widderson.
Yeah, and there's no leak forced on GreenSpirit, so he will most likely be able to cover at least most of the leak, and that's a big problem for Widderson leaking so much here, and it's actually not that big of a deal for GreenSpirit and Tyrion.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, GreenSpirit on 8 workers. He's really playing this one aggressively, and Kingdanzz forced to stay a bit lower because Tyrion was saving on him quite hard. Now, he's going to receive 2 brutes on wave 5. What is King's answer to this?
I mean, looking at his role, is there really any obvious answer? I think he will most likely go for a stack and an Eternal Wanderer.
Yeah.
In case he has not rerolled yet, because everything else just doesn't add up value-wise with his 162 gold. Oh, actually, he's going for the Grawl.
Going for the Grawl. It's so bizarre to me to have these melee units placed so close behind the Gatling gun.
I mean, as we saw, though, it worked, and I expect with this positioning that the mini-boss of the wave will actually attack the Gatling gun. Yeah, and everything else is
that's
on the
so
Grawl,
bizarre that because it's right at the very, very front of the lane, the creeps spawn so close that the gun is able to maintain massive stacks despite the melee units being placed so close behind.
I mean, that's actually insane. That really shows that someone has put in their effort and put in the extra hours and prepared very, very well.
I think we can, because it's Kingdanzz, we can just say that he's never played it before and he got lucky. But both players leaking 50% here. This is going to be a decent chunk of king damage. There's 2 full HP brutes reaching the king here on wave 5. This is really dangerous, actually, for Danz and Widderson. And here you were, by the way, giving the favour to GreenSpirit and Tyrion. Obviously, the viewers will remember that I had full confidence in them to take the game. I said there's absolutely no way that Danz and Widderson can take this one. And clearly Green Dwarf showing us that they mean business here in game number 1.
Yeah, and as I said earlier, I do have the favorites in Kingdanzz and Widderson, but yesterday we saw as well that GreenSpirit and Tyrion performed insanely well, even above the high standard we expected. They're just showing it again and again.
Absolutely.
But that being said, nothing is said and done yet.
No, and Danz and Widderson, they have a scary amount of Mythium saved up themselves. We've got 130 apiece, and GreenSpirit and Tyrion, they're not looking amazing on wave 7 and 8, depending what the send is going to be. And either way, the send is going to be huge.
Yeah, I mean, they need to find answers for that. GreenSpirit has set himself up with an Aqua combo, which is actually very strong, but The question is, what does he do if he receives something like 3 brutes or so that just shreds through all of his build?
True. All right, do we see income coming out from Tyrion as well? I expect we do. Here's the mimics, yeah. So there's Tyrion's getting his income. I expect they probably just do 1 or 2 king ups each as well. But how are they going to cope with mimics? Well, there's a bunk from GreenSpirit. That's certainly one way to deal with a mimic.
But the bunk just tanks too much, I fear.
It does. The bunk will full tank like this. He doesn't have any split. The only way he could split, by the way, is by selling one of the fire archers, which I honestly think might be worth it.
No, I don't think so. I think you just have to place your bunk a bit further behind and pray the bunk rusher takes perfect aggro.
So there's double Badger on the side of Tyrion. He's kind of lacking damage, though. Let's see if he's able to snipe out the Mimic, because that would be pretty huge for him. But it looks like no. Although, having said that, he is clearing a lot of the wave pretty quickly. And actually, GreenSpirit's just holding. GreenSpirit got Spieler, dude!
And not just holding, but holding fairly good, so he can actually cover some of the leaking.
Widderson leaking 66%, yeah, and Tyrion leaking only very small. It's basically a low HP Mimic and 5 small blobs, which is no problem whatsoever. Sure, Green won't be able to cover all of this in the mid, but the amount of king damage is going to be very low.
Yeah, and that actually Widderson leaking more than what Tyrion leaked in GreenSpirit full holding is really not what Widderson and Kingdanzz expected here.
I mean, imagine sending Power Mercs against GreenSpirit, dude. Imagine sending Power Mercs against GreenSpirit. He's just going to overbuild like a mega tryhard and hold it easily. And he just showcases why he's a legend player.
Yeah, indeed, he did. And he set himself up with that. I mean, he even had a shutdown. Even if you just get one bot through there, it might have been worth it for Kingdanzz and Widderson. But GreenSpirit staying strong, holding everything, and even covering some of his mates' league. That's insane, and that put him to the highest worker count and
he's on fire now. Off the back of that, right? He's really strong. So GreenSpirit.
No, actually, he was on fire last wave as well. So he had shutdown to give away last wave already.
Oh wow! And Widderson actually forced to stay on 8 workers. So GreenSpirit not only doing a great job of holding the sends from Kingdanzz, but he's also applying insane pressure against Widderson, keeping his worker count super low, and just enabling his teammate Tyrion as well. This is really solid play, actually, from the side of Green Dwarf.
I'd argue it's more than just solid play. That's actually that's not just good play. That's insanely good play. That's a masterclass that GreenSpirit actually for now is putting on.
Mm-hmm. All right, so there's Mole coming out on wave 9 from Kingdanzz, but GreenSpirit. Imagine sending Power Mercs against GreenSpirit. Have you not seen his overbuilding capabilities?
But to be fair, I mean, you have to collect that shutdown at some point. Otherwise, he'll just outskill you.
You have to try. But this one's looking really rough, actually, for Danz and Widderson.
Yeah, I do agree.
I mean, let's see. If they both have gates, but the rest of their units are pretty bad other than the gate. So let's see if there's leaks here on the side of Green and Tyrion. Meanwhile, over on Kingdanzz and Widderson's lane, we do see pretty strong performances, actually. It looks like a leak on Widderson, but Danz is doing extremely well. The Vulcan cannon here just absolutely obscene with 10 stacks, just melting the wave. Widderson actually doing extremely well as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's
a leak there, but it's not a big one. 33% on Widderson, 44% on Tyrion, although the gate spawn looks like it actually came out a bit later.
Yeah. But GreenSpirit once again holding, and he's at 16 workers now. That's twice as much as Widderson had last wave. And he's just in an insanely good position right now. Yeah,
GreenSpirit is playing this one very, very well. You love to see it.
I mean, you don't just love to see it, you're also scared if you see that, because if he's bringing that level to every game from here on out, then we might have been unjust in saying that King and Widderson are favored here, because at least in game 1 for now, it looks like GreenSpirit and Tyrion are really set to take this one.
Yeah, they're in a very, very strong position for sure. If you look at the worker situation, there's 30 workers on the side of Green and Tyrion versus just 21 on the side of Kingdanzz and Widderson. So the economic lead here is pretty solid. And actually, they continue to save their Mythium as well. Now, there's even more income here against GreenSpirit. Kingdanzz, it looks like, has learnt his lesson. He is no longer sending power mercs against GreenSpirit. He's just going for that income. But actually, Dan's decided to place an egg here. It's an egg directly behind his gun, which nearly dies, but doesn't, in fact. So if there had been a send there from Tyrion, he would have leaked and lost his egg. But I wonder if the players decide to send on 11 now.
I saw it and I saw it being prepped by Kingdanzz, and I was really wondering what he would try to accomplish with it.
Yeah.
I think actually he wants to maybe sacrifice it again and just bait out the send on 11 or something like that. Or
the send's not even coming here.
Yeah, that's the point. I really can't wrap my head around what Kingdanzz tried to achieve here.
Yeah. So we've got Widderson on Creditor, we've got GreenSpirit on Creditor, we've got Tyrion on Sacrifice. And Kingdanzz still yet to choose. He actually uses the sacrifice immediately to turn a Badger into a Hellgate, which you must admit is a pretty big improvement, but the send's not coming here on 11, and Hellgate's not amazing on 12.
Interestingly enough, Kingdanzz does not receive a send here.
I would have expected to see one as well, for sure.
I mean, you just gave someone who has a Vulcan cannon a fully stacked Hydra.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I mean, GreenSpirit and Tyrion are very good of just saving and continuing to build their Mythium lead and just opt for a really big send to try and break and maybe even end Kingdanzz and Widderson.
Yeah. Now, Green actually played this one quite aggressively, given that he's on a 75 gold shutdown. I actually think he would have leaked to any half-decent send there from Kingdanzz on wave 11.
Yeah, I mean, he went for the Creditor and he received a send on 10, so that's why he greeted as much as he did. But yeah, and we can see a send coming out from Widderson now.
Yeah, I think they were probably expecting the send to come on 12 here against them. So Kingdanzz is an absolute god on this wave, so I probably would agree with Tyrion and Green to not send here on 12. But I think they're just feeling the pressure, because look at GreenSpirit with his 400 Mythium saved up already.
And I mean, if we're looking at the value, Kingdanzz at least is at very strong value and with solid units, but Widderson really gets sacrificed a bit here, if we can say it like that, because he's the one receiving the biggest send because GreenSpirit is immensely fed, and he's the one on lower value, lower income, even lower workers.
Yeah. GreenSpirit now 20 workers. He's doubling his opponent. Widderson only on 10. And it looks like a very small leak here.
Yeah, it should be a leak, but that's only helping GreenSpirit and Tyrion.
Yeah. GreenSpirit already 500 Mythium in the bank, and here comes a wave 13 send now against Widderson and Kingdanzz. So Widderson doesn't look amazing, but he has good tanks. He has the Azora with Arc Tear potential. He has one Orchid and potentially more that he can boost as well. I don't know. I don't know about this send, dude. And I also don't love the center. I think I would have gone with a 4 Eyes and then maybe some Auras.
Yeah, I have to be honest. After Tyrion just received his send, maybe saving a bit longer would have been the call.
Now, Widderson, he's already 2300. He can fully boost those Orchids. I don't think he's going to Creditor shift here. He's not. So he's fully boosting his Orchids.
There is no way he has the balls to do that, because it
but
probably...
Kingdanzz is overvalued, though. Kingdanzz is actually plus 40 on the wave.
Yeah, I mean, he is, but the question is it really worth it? Because if Widderson can't hold, he will just continue to fall behind even further. I mean, it's nice if King stays in the game, but it's a team that consists of 2 players, and they really need to find a way for Widderson to stay relevant.
And this send is enormous, 620 against Widderson, who is minus 335, and he was bullied off his Creditor, so he didn't get any value from that on this wave. And it looks like he's going to leak anyway, so that's a pretty good play there from GreenSpirit. But Kingdanzz, meanwhile... Actually, Kingdanzz, I think we may have spoken too soon. It looks like this is a leak on him as well, as the Vulcan cannon goes down under the pressure.
Yeah, and that actually is, that's insane. It's huge. That's insane.
This is actually close to game. There's 5 golems and the centaur reaching the king. I mean, sure, they have 67% HP, but they only have 3 king attack upgrades. This is going to be a lot of damage, and even close to GG.
I personally don't think it's over, but yeah, I mean, they're ticking down lower and lower with their king HP. And
meanwhile, just look at the workers, because GreenSpirit, 20 workers to the 10 of Mr. Widderson.
Yeah, I mean, the 20 workers, he had that already last wave, so he's sitting at a whopping 150 Mythium again, even though he just sent.
Wow. Okay, and here's more income coming out from Kingdanzz, just feeding the snowball train that GreenSpirit has. And by the way, he now has Butcher to go with his gates. This is insane. Like, life steal gates in the late game, there's very little that is stronger than that, apart from, you know, like Boars and Halos and Boars and Disciples. But life steal gates are an absolute late game monstrosity in their own right. So I think with this strong economic situation that he's in and the role that he's got, GreenSpirit can absolutely carry this game home.
Yeah, and I mean, if you just take a look at GreenSpirit's role, it's actually insane, and it will never fall off. It only gets stronger and stronger as you get more gates, and that really makes me wonder whether Kingdanzz almost income sending and like keeping sending for income really is the right play for his team there.
Yeah, I mean, Kingdanzz just wants to have some ability to carry himself, right? So I can see where he's coming from, and certainly we can't. I know I was memeing earlier on, but you can't really question Kingdanzz's decision making. So if Kingdanzz thinks that him continuing to income send and king upgrade is the right play, then it probably is. It probably is like the narrow chance that they have to get back into the game is if he can somehow outcarry Green. I just don't see it happening in this game. I think GreenSpirit's extremely strong early game performance is just going to be enough, especially when he has a late game role like this available.
Yeah, I mean, the game plan for GreenSpirit going forward is just add a little bit of more tanks and add more gates and add more gates and add more gates, and those spawns will really carry you. And even though it looks like you might leak because you just don't have any units left on the field, suddenly the 4 gates spawn out for melee life-stealing gates. And
if Widderson wasn't having a rough enough game, he just spent another 50 gold here boosting his orchids, and there was no send. He needs that 50 gold to be able to hold when the send does come, but he's never going to see it again. Yeah,
I mean, I guess he figured that his teammate egged and he's strong and swift tanks for 16, but yeah, that's rough for Widderson, who's already at just 10 workers. I mean, even Tyrion has doubled Widderson's worker count by now.
Yeah, but they still don't need to send here on 16. They don't even need to send on 17, because GreenSpirit is a monster on wave 17 with those lifesteal gates. And actually, Tyrion has gates of his own and this fortified front line. So I think GreenSpirit and Tyrion, if it's the play they want to go for, they can just go straight wave 18, which is Kingdanzz weak wave, right? The thing is, Kingdanzz, he's calling that already. He's just placing another egg here on 16.
Yeah, I mean, Kingdanzz really is looking strong with the eggs, with the Ocean Temple, and the Gatling gun upgraded, the second one already to the Vulcan cannon. And actually, Kingdanzz chose to go away from his egg plan, so I guess he assumes it will be a 17 cent. Yeah. And we can see, like, a big send is coming out nowhere. Like, no one's sending anything. Everyone's keeping their mind, and Tyrion is sitting on a potential big send. I mean, as well as GreenSpirit, they're sitting at 650 and 550 Mythium each, so that can be potentially life-threatening for Widderson and Kingdanzz. And
absolutely,
but as we alluded to earlier,
they're questioning whether this was a full push, but it actually wasn't. So I wonder if they get baited to go on this 17 send where GreenSpirit and Tyrion are extremely strong. They don't. Okay, they are expecting the wave 18 send. Wait, Dance? Did he change his mind with that egg?
Yeah, he changed it. I even told it. He changed his mind and went for the Samurai Soul instead.
Okay,
most likely expects a 17th Send, but
yeah, but the Send's not coming
really
on 17.
Is.
The Send is not coming on 17, and Widderson has full pushed.
Yeah, and actually GreenSpirit is respecting that and upgrading their king, and that's kind of an interesting choice, considering that they're so strong and considering that they are actually the ones saving them more Mythium and really wanting to break through and end the game.
Exactly. Now, so this is their one chance, right? Is for Kingdanzz to be able to hold, and his value is very, very high. But Widderson has full pushed, and their one play now is to be able to win the race on wave 18.
Yeah, and that being said, I mean, Kingdanz's tank value is really good, but he lacks damage, so I mean, there's no chance of him holding the wave, so that won't happen and won't ruin him.
Yeah.
But actually,
and now
not
they know that Widderson is full
damage.
pushed. Now they know that Widderson is full pushed. So GreenSpirit, if he wanted to, could just go income and king upgrade with the rest of his Mythium. Let's see if he makes that call or if he just commits to the full send.
I do think everyone's full sending here. I don't think anyone can allow to delay. Yeah.
Huh?
So we can see maybe some cleanups
all around. But GreenSpirit, we've said it before and we'll say it again. Imagine sending power mercenaries to GreenSpirit. He's going to easily hold here, and yet we do see the full sell there from Widderson. He's just absolutely committed to the full push. He's probably going to write GG with his Bone Warriors. That's easy. He's writing. Okay, a different play, but he doesn't actually have enough gold. Well, he had to cancel some workers so that he could commit to writing easy. I like the play. I think it's probably his highest chance of winning here is to try and BM his opponents. But he doesn't even have enough gold to finish the easy Bone Warrior. So clearly Widderson not good enough.
Yeah, I actually think that is a meme play and it can give him a mental edge, but in the end it didn't really matter. He could have pushed the workers, he could have not sold. It really doesn't matter. It just comes down to whether Kingdanzz is able to delay
but GreenSpirit's split did kill his Halo here. But I think it just doesn't matter. Like, just imagine, if you will, sending power mercenaries to GreenSpirit.
Yeah, and I mean, those gates are insanely strong, and Kingdanzz is leaking, but Tyrion is as well, but GreenSpirit just isn't, and GreenSpirit really put on massive price this game. I mean, that's insane.
I mean, I've been kind of memeing him a little bit this game, but he's played extremely well. I think GreenSpirit put this game on his shoulders and just showed us all that he can absolutely carry a game against Kingdanzz and Widderson.
Yeah, that puts the team of GreenSpirit and Tyrion, which is the team Green Dwarf, up ahead, and they're one up in the series.
Yeah, absolutely. Just really solid play there from Green Dwarf. Very, very, very good indeed. So we see that big leak on wave 4 against Widderson with the resend from GreenSpirit kind of giving them an early lead. And then the re-leaks on 5 as well. I think this was probably a tipping point for Kingdanzz and Widderson, because Widderson needed to be able to hold there when Kingdanzz is receiving a massive 140 send. And then with Green's enormous hold against the Mimic on wave 7 as well, like, the game was kind of already really hard for Kingdanzz and Widderson to come back from, and they just didn't give them an inch. Like, they didn't give them a second chance to come back into the game. Big send on wave 13, getting even more king damage done. And then, the game over send there on wave 18. Massive play from GreenSpirit and Tyrion. And they take the first game of the series, so well played to those guys.
Yeah, and especially to GreenSpirit. I mean, they're a team, they performed as a team as well, but GreenSpirit, I think, did not even leak once, no, actually GreenSpirit has not leaked in this entire game. And as you might understand, if you never leak and catch all of the leaks that your teammate does, you win the game.
Yeah, exactly, dude. Exactly. And it was just a really, really solid performance all around, I think. And showing us that they can take a game off possibly the tournament favourite in Kingdanzz and Widderson. So, I mean, let's see if they can just clean 2-0 them here. Or do you think Kingdanzz and Widderson are going to come back fighting and take this to a 1-1?
I mean, we had our first series going 1-1, so I hope it happens again. And we want to see, like, all them games. We want to see 11 out of 11 possible today. I mean, who doesn't? And so, yeah, I do really hope we can see Kingdanzz and Widderson bringing it back just for the sake of having more great games of LTD.
Yeah, exactly, dude, exactly. So, I mean, there's everything to play for now. We're about to see maybe this go 2-0 in favour of Green Dwarf, or do we see #1 bringing this series to a tie and then bring us to the third game before the grand finals? But yeah, it looks like there's no waiting around. The players have started the lobby, although there's a potential delay here. I see ready players 5 out of 6, so we might have a bit of a false start here and have to try again to get this game number 2 underway.
And GreenSpirit left the game.
Okay. So GreenSpirit's game potentially crashing there. We'll have to wait for him to get back into the lobby. But meanwhile, we can try and entertain you with our rugged good looks and intelligent banter. So with that said, Crazy, how about some intelligent banter?
Intelligent banter? I think that Kingdanzz and Widderson only lost this game because Widderson didn't finish his easy at the end.
Well, I think Kingdanzz and Widderson didn't win here because Widderson didn't start Bone Crusher or Green Devil. And that really begs the question, why did Widderson not start Bone Crusher or Green Devil here, Craig?
I mean, because he was a pussy and took greed instead of redraw?
Absolutely.
Because his
correct answer.
His teammate called that they would go for the third option and he didn't. Yeah. So, yeah.
I mean, that just goes to show that lying never pays. So Kingdanzz, maybe if he'd been a little bit more truthful, he would have been able to take game number 1.
Yeah, I think that's a rightful punishment.
Yeah. Anyway, enough kind of gasping for time here. We have begun the game, and Kingdanzz deciding to live up to his promise a little bit late, though. But he's picked Chaos, and Widderson has picked Chaos as well. So we have a double Chaos on the side of Danz and Widderson. And meanwhile, GreenSpirit has 0 balls. So, he played pretty well in game number 1. But game number 2, he's decided to play like a mega pussy. He's gone for 5 workers, 5 income, with greed. Same with Tyrion. So we have double Chaos versus double greed. And I really think that the Chaos players should win this just because picking Chaos is a show of dominance.
Yeah, I mean, I said it earlier that I want to see a game 3 because those teams played very well, and I just love to see a series go to distance. And now I finally have you in the same boat as I am, because now you just wait for Kingdanzz and Widderson to win because they're the persons taking Chaos instead of greed. And for everyone who does not know what Chaos is, Chaos gives you a set of 6 fighters every round. It's a tier 1, a tier 2, and so on. But each one is rolled new each wave. So for your wave 1, you have a totally different build or a totally different set of units you can build than for wave 2 and so on.
Exactly. Now, Tyrion, I think, has a very solid role, actually, with his Gate Guard, with his Infiltrator, Serpent, etc., and then Boar for the late game transition. And we do have some gunplay coming out from GreenSpirit, so let's see if GreenSpirit is able to show Kingdanzz how gun should be played and pilot it to victory here in game number 2. And there was a snail sent here against Kingdanzz, who started Nekomata with 0 stacks and an Infiltrator. I think this does leak. Yeah,
I mean, we can see it. It's a leak for sure. But it's not a 50%. Bad one.
I mean, it's not a bad one, but it's not a good one either. That's half of the wave leaking there on the side of Kingdanzz. Yeah, +4 there in the chat from GreenSpirit, wishing it was a Fiesta game. But Kingdanzz, I mean, he's playing Chaos.
Yeah, I mean, we can already see what he rolled for next wave, but actually, it's not that good. I think he's best off just stacking his cat and trying to find a way to hold here and scale on forward, because his Chaos roll for this wave is abysmal. Yeah. We can be honest.
No, but I think these 2 units are kind of fine here. Maybe the snail creates a small leak, but it won't be a big one if it is.
But it really brings the pressure to him. He can't. He doesn't know what he's piloting next wave, and if he's unlucky, that really can hurt.
Oh,
him.
He just picks up the gargoyle there for wave 3. He's completely fine, dude.
I mean, he also has an Infiltrator and a cat, so actually he was fine either way. But for now, he's really taking punches straight up to the face as he's.
This is going to be another leak, right? Not a big one here, but this is going to be another leak. Actually, 50% again? 50% again! Kingdanzz leaking back-to-back 50%, wave 1, wave 2. This time it's Tyrion dishing out the punishment. So we had GreenSpirit carrying game number 1. Maybe it's Tyrion's turn to shine.
I mean, to be fair, those leaks early on are not as bad, especially considering that Kingdanzz is to play on the highest worker count already. And I mean, if you leak that early, you still get most of the gold. The only problem really is that you give some of the gold as well to your opponents.
Mm-hmm. Now let's see. This Crusher here needs to split tank with the gun. So if it doesn't, then GreenSpirit's going to leak pretty hard. But if it does, he should be fine. So I think we need to see if he's got his positioning right here. Let's just watch GreenSpirit's lane and see what happens.
And I mean, GreenSpirit with a cannon.
The Crusher tanks. The Crusher tanks really well. That's going to be an easy hold there from Green. So let's check some of the other lanes. I think Tyrion should do just fine there with his 300 value. Meanwhile, Widderson, one of the Tempests does go down. I think that should be a leak as well. And Kingdanzz, he did receive a Dragon Turtle. I think he leaks again. Back to back to back leaks from the man. Widderson, 47%. He couldn't quite kill that turtle.
I mean, to be fair, the leak that Kingdanzz has produced is really it's minor. It's
very small, but when your mate's leaking as well, this is king damage now. And sure, like a pro leak is fine, like small leaks are fine. We all know the old mantra. But when it's a small leak every single wave, and you're not playing Fiesta, it becomes a little bit less fine.
Yeah, that's what I want to point out. Like, that leak in itself is not a problem. I mean, it's fine because he's the highest workers and so on, and he has probably a way to hold the next waves. But not covering his mate, which would have been like very, which would have been very easy since everything that Widderson leaked was very low, and Kingdanzz not covering here really is a problem.
Yeah. All right, now Kingdanzz going into wave 4 with under 300 value. He does get a resend from Tyrion. Is Tyrion going to go for the 60? He is. Widderson, he is overbuilding though, so Widderson should be fine here. Let's just zoom in on Dan's lane and see if there is a releak. But meanwhile, actually, Brute Snail Send against both GreenSpirit and Tyrion. Let's see if we can imagine sending Power Mercs against GreenSpirit, and I think we just can't, right? That's an easy hold from him there. Tyrion, I think his cat, can't see his cat's HP. His cat does die, so Tyrion will leak, but not badly. Dan's is leaking again! Oh, Dan's just killed the turtle there. Tyrion 57%. GreenSpirit. Imagine, if you will, Power Mercs versus GreenSpirit. Does it pay off? No. Never.
I mean, actually, GreenSpirit is in a great spot, but the person that we should really be looking at is Kingdanzz. I mean, everyone else is in an okay spot, but King is like really feeling the pressure, which is strange to say because it's Kingdanzz after all. Yeah. I mean, he's the one who's defined the word pressure in this game, but he's leaking over 50% every wave almost.
And just look at the worker situation as well. We've got 7 and 7 for Dan's and Widders. We've got 9 and 8 for GreenSpirit and Tyrion. Really impressive stuff.
I mean, in the end, it comes down to Tyrion basically just income sending, if we're being perfectly honest, sending a snail, sending he and a snail. He's sending every wave, and he's forcing rather big every wave with it.
Yeah. Now, Kingdanzz, I don't think the angler's going to be what he wants here, really.
I mean, I think he was just lacking other options and tried to add a little bit of value that makes him bold here, but I wonder whether just a cat stack would have been worth more.
Now, Widderson should hold here pretty easily versus the 60. He's got strong units.
Yeah, and I mean, we can see that Tyrion and GreenSpirit have not received send, so they're preparing for a potential big send on 6 or 7, but we can see Kingdanzz actually sending
so here come the imps. Here come the imps. Now, GreenSpirit, this might get him. He is going to play the Berserker. I think he probably wants to get a Bone Warrior somewhere a bit higher up. He does, okay. So he's hoping that Bone Warrior can catch the Roccos and keep them away from his important Gatling gun here. The Gatling needing to dish out the deeps here. Even though it's a fortified wave, that's still going to be his main damage source, other than the Berserker, of course.
Yeah, but really, let's be honest, I think that the imps might be enough to shred through GreenSpirit's front line.
He has very high value, though. 620 value here. He even has his gun tanking two Rockos, which I think is pretty good, especially since one of the ones that's attacking is dying very quickly and the second one dies now. So if this just survives on like super low HP, oh no, but now the Rocko attacks it instead of the Berserker, so his gun will go down. But I think that's fine though, honestly. Like, it survived so long that GreenSpirit's short. I think he leaks here, but it might just be like one imp.
No, he doesn't leak. He holds.
He just holds?
I'm pretty certain he holds just, and that's insane. Like, that's...
Wow. No.
No, actually he's leaking.
Oh, he leaks! He leaks! Power Mercs! GreenSpirit leaked Power Mercs, guys. Record this.
I mean, he leaked it just to the second Rocko, like changing its path and killing his Gatling gun. But I mean, that's insane. GreenSpirit like reading out, starting Bone Crusher, and playing from there on out, and it really worked for him here.
But now again, the worker situation: 11 for Green, 10 for Tyrion, versus 8 for Danzz and 9 for Widders. Like, they're definitely on the back foot. And GreenSpirit and Tyrion, they have pretty high Mythian counts stored up already. So when do you think they want to send against Danzz and Widders to try and close this game out?
I mean, I think they had 8 in mind, and now seeing that Danzz added a Millennium, actually, I think they will still stay with their plan because they can't go any. They want to send. I mean, they're in the lead. They at some point want to collect their income, so I do think we will see 8 cents. Yeah.
Oh, but GreenSpirit's just going for income. He doesn't want to go for a massive leak here on Widderson. And I think that's fine, honestly, because you can see that he has the Tempest Leviathan, which is very, very strong on wave 8. Like, it's possible to leak it, but it's definitely not easy.
Yeah, I do agree. And I also expect Tyrion to send here, if I'm being perfectly honest.
Yeah.
So literally everyone is sending this wave. And we can see Widderson sending a mole, that being the only power merc that's getting sent.
Yeah. Tyrion, he has the Deep Coiler, which of course is amazing on this wave. If you read the mole send, though, it might have been better for him to upgrade the Infiltrator instead of the Coiler. But I think he should be okay. He has 960 value, and GreenSpirit is definitely not leaking with his Vulcan Cannon there. That's going to be an easy hold for him. Danzz and Widderson both with around 1,000 value of their own, only receiving income though, so I think they should hold here. And there's another 20 gold boost there from Mr. Danzz.
Yeah, I mean, against the income send, that should not be a problem.
So sure, like, he holds, but at what cost, you know? He had to send, so there's no pressure against GreenSpirit. He had to spend 20 gold on his boost, so that's another 20 gold lost. And actually, Widderson's even leaking versus the income send here.
And Kingdanzz might not hold either. Because I think he's lacking.
I think he should leak the cannons, right?
Yeah.
So Danzz leaks the 2 cannons, Widderson leaks the cannons as well, and this is even more king damage here on wave number 8.
And that's actually insane because, I mean, yeah, you killed all of your wave if you're Kingdanzz and most of it if you're Widderson, but I mean, that's a lot of gold. That's 400 Mythium converted in gold, which makes it 60 per player, 120 gold after being sent, if I'm correct. Never did math on stream.
Yeah.
That just runs down your king, damages it, just gives back some gold to your opponents.
Yep. And not only that, but the fact that the wave lasts so long is just even more benefit for the side of GreenSpirit and Tyrion because they have a pretty big worker lead. So the longer the waves last, the better it is for them.
As you can see, they're both on a shutdown already.
Yeah. GreenSpirit 25, Tyrion 25. Yeah, this one's looking pretty tough again for Danzz and Widderson. They've got a hill to climb.
Yeah, they don't have a hill to climb, they've got a mountain to climb.
Absolutely, dude. Alright, so this should be... When do we expect the send to come? Like, I don't think you want to go 10 into the Leviathans and Daphnes that Mr. Widderson has available. So maybe they just go for like a big wave 11 or even 12 send. But again, Leviathans are beasts on 12 as well.
I mean, I think what GreenSpirit and Tyrion are looking at is maybe some ogres against Widderson to shred through everything. But as we alluded to earlier in another game, that Leviathans are very strong units on 11 and on 12.
They safe. They do safe. Okay. GreenSpirit with his boar, Tyrion with his boar. So these guys are expecting wave 11 sends as well and preparing for it already on wave 10. But Widderson's full preparing for wave 10 himself. So he does go for the Daphnes here. And while the Daphnes are amazing on 10, of course, they're pretty bad on wave 11.
I mean, they allow you to shred through whatever you receive earlier, so there are certainly worse units, but yeah, I agree. It's certainly a build optimized to hold 10 and not to combat wave 11 and
exactly. Oh, by the way, GreenSpirit is gone full tanks here. He might even leak no send because of that. Like, the Berserker needs to be able to, like, the Berserker is his only damage source now, so let's see if the Berserker can clutch this. It is the last unit to take focus. That's very, very lucky for him. So the Berserker is pretty highly ramped already. And he does hold, but that was lucky for GreenSpirit, honestly.
I mean, the Berserker survived at 40 HP, and imagine the Berserker dying there and the shield dying as well. A GreenSpirit leaking would be a 50 or maybe a 25 gold, but I assume a 50 gold shutdown last wave, so that would have been huge. But, I mean, he held and he, like, gathered some additional time for his workers, and actually, I think it benefits him now, and you can see like everyone's sending, everyone is in for it, and we can see
Widderson, by the way, he gets Mudman in his Chaos role here, which is very clutch when there's a wave 11 send coming. So he just plays the hardened Mudman very, very solid. Guardian Angel on the Alpha Male here from Kingdanzz, boosting his Orchid, of course, but he's pretty heavy undervalue.
Yeah, and I mean, we can see actually Widderson.
Oof. Widderson, running out of time, didn't place his Guardian Angel, so he picked the Guardian Angel very last second, but didn't place it on one of those hardened Mudmen. So if he leaks there, that's a little bit of a misplay.
I mean, he surely leaks. There's no way he can hold a 400 cent, can he?
But Danz, this is going to be a big old leak on the King.
That might kill them. That actually should kill them.
Well, Widderson's doing pretty well, regardless, like, even though he didn't harden the Mudman. Like, sure, he's going to leak, but it's not going to be a big one on Widderson.
I mean,
Danz there, 59%. Yeah. And Widderson, 63%. I think they survived this, though. I think they survived.
I mean, I think they've got some King upgrades, yeah. They should survive, but
both Green and Tyrion holding their sends. And this was a 4 Eyes plus King ups there from Kingdanzz. So an uncharacteristic misplay from King, actually, to go for a Power Merc plus King upgrades.
I mean, he really just... I think he just figured that he would otherwise die, and it looks like they do.
Wow! Jawohl, Junge! Green Dwarf clutching the series 2-0 here. Really showing dominance. Like, very, very, very well played there from GreenSpirit and Tyrion. I love to see some kind of new blood in the tournament scene, and they really have just destroyed probably the tournament favourites here, which is Kingdanzz and Widderson. So amazing gameplay there from those two guys.
Yeah, I gotta agree. And as we said earlier, I mean, sure, Kingdanzz and Widderson were the favourites in most people's minds, but yesterday Tyrion and GreenSpirit played out of their minds, and again today they did. I mean, that's undoubtedly some of the best play we've seen in this entire tournament yet.
And this really comes down to the snail on 1, right? Like Tyrion, he snails Danz on 1, that's a 50% leak. He snails him on 2, that's a 50% leak. He sends again on 4, both players leak. Again on 3 and they leak. Again on 4 and he leaks. And Danz is just really struggling, like all the way from the start of the game. GreenSpirit and Tyrion just continuing to snowball off the back of it.
Let me put it into perspective. Kingdanzz ended this wave with a 26% average leak.
Yeah.
GreenSpirit ended this game with a 1%
average leak. Yeah. And to be fair, that's the first time that we've seen him leak today.
Yeah, that's the point. And the first game he did not leak at all. So that's like... So,
is it true? We've seen GreenSpirit play 2 games, and the only thing he's leaked is 1 imp?
Yeah. That's the only thing he's leaked. A 1 half HP imp.
Gut gespielt, GreenSpirit. Sehr gut.
I mean, it's actually insane. It's at this level of competition, playing 2 very, very, very solid games. I mean, we're beyond solid. Some 2 very insane games is really, it's a detriment to his skill.
All right, let me update the scoreboard then, because perhaps unexpected to a lot of people, but we